Live from the Rock Sports Network studios in beautiful Rochester, New York. This is your Rochester Sports Show, Rochester Sports Mumblings.
All right.
Presented by Salvatore's Old Fashioned Pizzeria with your host, Matt Goldman and John Cargill.
All right.
And here's your host, Matt Goldman.
All right. We had a little bit of problems.
If you're listening live, we're on the air now. We had some issues with computers and such today. Has not happened in many months. So
hasn't happened at all.
But it happened today. All right, we're going to start off right off the bat with from the Rochester Rhinos, who are off to an incredible 3-0-2 start. I don't think anyone anywhere in the soccer world in America really expected this to happen. Alex Dixon from the Rhinos, thank you for joining us.
Welcome to the show, Alex.
You guys got to be thrilled about the start and about the road trip in Louisville and St. Louis. What's the team's thoughts right now?
The team's very excited right now. You know, we knew we had the first 5 games on the road, and we tried to collect as many points as possible, and we luckily came out with a 3-0-2 record. And, you know, we would like to get 2 more wins, obviously, but we're excited in the position that we're in and just want to keep on building on that and move forward. And,
Alex, you scored the game-tying goal in the 68th minute in Louisville on Thursday. Tell us about that goal. Came off a set piece. The ball was bouncing around a little bit. Arnold Abassi headed the ball back in. Johnny, I knew he was going to see me making the run, so I just made a little darting run in. He played me in, and I just hit a shot. Luckily, it went in, and we got the tie. So. Now, you know, one thing, I was watching that Louisville game I found very interesting. They had, it looked like artificial turf covering the infield dirt. Am I right? Yeah, that was correct. It was strange. Yeah, how was that to play on there? It had to be a little weird. Yeah, it was very weird. Like, you'd go from the grass to the artificial turf, so you go from cutting normally, and then you hop on the turf, and it's just a totally different ball game. So definitely took a little bit of time to get adjusted to that. But, I mean, I think once we got our footing on that, everything was fine, and you know, we put in a good performance. Was it the field, like on baseball fields, was it a thinner field? Because usually at baseball stadiums, they can't have a very wide field. Yeah, the field, it was very tight, very compact. I think it was only about 105 yards long and like 70 or 65 wide. Oh, wow, so yeah. It was tight, and the ball was pinging around pretty well. So, I mean, it was our style of play, and, you know, definitely a different feel for the game, but we enjoyed it.
It's like a reminder of the old Frontier days.
Yeah, at Frontier Field in Rochester, you know, years and years ago, they played at the baseball stadium here. The Rhinos did, but they had they put sod over the infield dirt instead of the turf. So I thought that must be a new kind of thing they're wanting to try to save money. You know, in Louisville is just put turf over there. How's the fan support on the road in Louisville and St. Louis? 2 new USL cities. It was good. They had 2 good crowds out there. They're very vocal. And, I mean, we did our best job that we could to shut them up a little bit. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, they definitely had some good crowds out there, and very surprising to see.
Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty, festive atmosphere, like a lot of supporters.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So, Alex, you came out of University of North Carolina, also played for the Houston Dynamo, scoring your first MLS goal as a rookie in 2011. Tell us about that experience playing in MLS, and are you looking forward to trying to get back to MLS?
Yeah, the MLS was definitely a great experience. You know, I was at my hometown team, so that was also a positive. But just playing with some of the best players I've ever been with in my life every day, that was a good learning experience, and just learning how to be a good professional. And definitely trying to get back there. But right now I'm focused on the Rochester Rhinos and trying to bring back a championship to the city.
Very cool. Awesome. Alex, you're 5'8", listed 5'8", 150. I've noticed it seems like speed is definitely your game. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's noticed that. Is that what you kind of pride yourself on?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the biggest part of my game, just being able to get away from guys and take guys on. But, I think I have a lot more to offer than speed, so I try to, work on all aspects of my game. But speed definitely is, my main thing. It's a very good advantage for me.
Do you, it must be nice for you getting to play under a USL Hall of Fame coach like Bob Lilly. I mean, it's certainly working so far this year. Is that a good experience to be able to learn under him?
Yeah, it's a great experience. He's a very demanding coach, and I mean, he knows what he wants. And, we always have an idea of what we want to do when we step onto the field. So he provides us with a clear picture, and, it's a good experience playing under him and enjoying it.
So, Alex, any personal goals for this year? Do you want to score a couple more goals? Do you want to improve your game overall? And also team goals. What are you guys looking to do this year?
Yeah, I mean, personally, just trying to get better. Obviously, score as many goals as possible, but the team comes first in everything. So we're just trying to get back to the playoffs and build on what we had last year. And then hopefully, if we stay in form, keep the right attitude, then we'll be in the championship. And hopefully that's the main goal, to bring a championship back. So,
very
that's
cool.
what we want to do.
It has been a while since the Rhinos have won a championship. 2001 was a long time ago, and that was at the baseball stadium in Frontier. Or no, yeah,
that was at Frontier.
Yeah, that was. So it has been a while. It'd be nice to see the Rhinos make a run at it last year. You guys were looking good at the end of the year last year. Went into LA. The Galaxy 2 was a very tough team. So what do you think about the USL this year? You guys are just playing on the East Coast. No more trips out to LA and Sacramento and Orange County.
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping to make those trips out to the West Coast
playoffs,
a little bit this year. But, they obviously realign the conferences and everything. So we'll play a couple of teams 3 or 4 times this year, and when that comes around, we'll have a good picture of everyone. But when the playoffs roll around, I think we'll be able to go to the West Coast, and I think they'll be a little bit surprised at what we have to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we can make a run at it.
You guys will have to represent the East Coast of the USL. So home opener coming up this week. It's got to be exciting. You guys have been on the road for a month. Sunday, April 26th, 2:05 against the New York Red Bulls 2. You guys played them in the season opener. It was a scoreless draw. It looked like that was kind of before you guys had really started to get everything rolling offensively and defensively. What are you looking for in this rematch with the Red Bull 2?
We're just gonna come out and try to play a solid game, and come out with the 3 points. That's always the main objective. And like you said, in the first game, we were still trying to figure each other out. That might have been the first time that 11 played together.
Yeah.
So now we have a better understanding of each other and what our roles are and what we're supposed to do. So I think we can play our game and come in with the right mindset. We can come out with the 3 points on Sunday.
Alex, I know you're more focused on the offensive side, but goaltending-wise, I mean, you got to play with John McCarthy last year, who I was just watching last night play on ESPN, for Philadelphia Union against NYCFC. This year, you've got 3 goaltenders that are looking pretty solid. Brandon Miller, Sean Murdoch, and the guy from University of Michigan. Both have played, and all 3 have played very well. Obviously, you guys have not lost yet. Is it nice for you in the midfield and up front to know that you have solid goaltending every night?
Yeah, it's definitely a great comfort to know we have 3 quality keepers in the back, and whoever's in there we know will be able to step up and make the big-time saves whenever we need and just keep everything organized in the back. So all the guys are confident with who we have behind us, and, we have 3 quality keepers, like I said, to choose from. So whoever's in there, we know we'll be fine at the back. And we shouldn't be giving up too many goals this year.
Yeah, only 2 goals allowed so far. It's the best in the league, so so far so good. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for hanging on through the technical difficulties as well. We do appreciate it, and good luck this Sunday.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. That was Alex Dixon of the Rochester Rhinos. Home opener this Sunday, 2:05 against the New York Red Bulls 2 at Salem Stadium. And, John, we're going to give away some tickets to that game. All right?
All right, yeah,
we have four tickets to give away to the opener on Sunday against New York Red Bull 2 at Salem Stadium. And we are going to give away 4 tickets if you are the first correct responder to our Rhinos trivia question. And the way to respond is on our Facebook page. So respond on our Facebook page in order to win. Drum roll, please.
Okay, for today's Rhinos trivia, who was the first Rhinos opponent in the first ever match played at Shaylen Stadium, then known as Paytech Park? So, the question again was, who was the Rhinos opponent at the first ever match played at Shaylen Stadium, and then it was known as Paytech Park? Winner, first one to answer correctly, gets 4 passes to the home opener, and good luck.
Respond on our Facebook page right now if you want to win those tickets. And we have another contest going, John, on our Facebook. We have our first annual Calder Cup playoff prediction challenge.
All right.
So I made my picks last night on the Facebook. I'm going to have you make your picks sometime today.
I got to make my pick sometime tonight.
Now, the people out there, go to our Facebook, find the post, and respond with your predictions for the 8 first-round AHL Calder Cup playoff series. Give us the winner and the series length. And remember that every series is a best of 5 in the first round, okay? So whoever picks closest based on whoever has the most series winners, and then whoever has the most series winners with the correct number of series lengths, you will win a prize. It'll probably be some tickets to a local sports team.
Yeah.
So respond that. The deadline to enter is Wednesday.
What would be awesome is if we could give tickets to the Calder Cup final, but that will not happen.
Yeah, but who knows where? Last year it was in Texas.
But wouldn't that even be more awesome if we could do that?
Yeah, a free trip, right? Airline and hotel included.
Maybe one day. Cool. Maybe one day we'll be there.
Maybe one day. All right, John. It was a huge sports weekend once again in Rochester. By the way, we're gonna have Jeff DiVeronica of the Democrat and Chronicle coming up in just a few minutes here. We're gonna talk some soccer with him. A lot of lacrosse going on this weekend, though, John. The Nighthawks playing 2 games out west. Friday night, losing 11-10 to the Colorado Mammoth. They were down 11-5 with about 8 minutes to go in the game. They reeled off 5 straight goals and almost tied up the game. They had possession with 18 seconds left. Cody Jamieson, who had scored 2 of the goals in the 5-0 run in the fourth quarter, just couldn't get the handle on the ball and squirted away, and the time ran out. Saturday night, they took that momentum from that fourth quarter comeback in Denver to Langley, British Columbia, in the outskirts of Vancouver, and won 13-7 to clinch a home playoff berth.
All right.
Congratulations to the Nighthawks. They are now 11-5, 1.5 games behind the Toronto Rock, who are 13-4 in first place. So still a chance to catch Toronto for first place, but the Nighthawks have to win out.
Yeah.
So
and a little bit of luck wouldn't help on that.
So the Nighthawks play at home this coming weekend. Saturday night, it's the home finale against the New England Black Wolves. It is Military Appreciation Night. Lots of cool stuff going on there. It is the last regular season home game, and then they're guaranteed at least one home game in the playoffs.
And that's good news.
The Rochester Rattlers open up their home schedule this weekend on Sunday. And it
wasn't really there, was it?
It didn't go as well as planned for Bradford and company. The New York Lizards, who have Rob Pennell, Ned Crotty, and Paul Rabel. Okay? 3 of the biggest names in the world in lacrosse. You see them on TV and commercials all the time.
Former Rat Crotty.
Yeah, Crotty was a former Rattler. They came in and just blew the doors off of Eunice Kennedy Shriver Stadium on the campus of SUNY Brockport, jumping out to an 11-0 lead. They scored 10 goals in the first quarter to none for the Rattlers, and then early in the second quarter, it was 11-0.
Now, did they slow down, and is that why they didn't totally blow the doors off?
No, I just think the Rattlers finally found their feet a little bit, thank God, in the second quarter. Final score was 19-9 for the Lizards.
Ouch.
Real quick, I'm going to give you my impressions of Eunice Kennedy Shriver Stadium.
All right, this is what I want to hear.
In Brockport. The turf is gorgeous, okay? First of all, way nicer turf than Salen's, okay? Seriously, no, the turf is brand new. It is
believe
beautiful. It is bright green. It's even. It looks great. Okay. The only negative about the turf is that the 2-point line for Major League Lacrosse is not like built into the turf, so they had to spray paint it on, and you could barely see the line. There's also a ton of other lines. There's football lines.
Yeah.
There's girls lacrosse lines. There's NCAA lacrosse.
So
lines.
it looks like a typical college lacrosse stadium.
It looks like
with a million lines, kind of.
A typical college turf field. So the stands, it sits 8,500 if they needed it.
It sits 8,500.
8,500. It's all bleachers.
Oh, really?
So bleachers are they're okay.
I thought it said 1,800.
No, 8,500.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Nice.
The concessions were slow. They had one concession stand and some college, I think either volunteers or just getting probably maybe work for SUNY Brockport were handling the concessions. They seemed a little bit overwhelmed with the crowd. So the concessions were a little slow. It would be nice to have more than one concession stand if they could set up another concession stand on the opposite side of the field. Also, the bathrooms are limited. There's only bathrooms on the side of the field opposite to where the stands, or there's stands on both sides, but where the tickets were sold. So you have to walk all the way around the track to get to the bathrooms. There is a track around the field as well, which means if you're standing, I know a lot of people at Salins enjoyed standing on the open end and watching the game. It's a decent view. It's difficult to stand and watch because of the track, so there's a bit of a distance between yourself and the field. There's no beer, which disappointed a lot of fans. The crowd was okay for the weather.
How big was the crowd, would you say?
John, it was colder than the Red Wings home opener. The wind was blowing at about 50 miles an hour, steady, okay?
It was windy. It was really windy.
No one was prepared. The DNC had said it was going to be like 63. It didn't get past like 48, okay? And the wind was just blowing like crazy. So for the fact that it was really, really cold, the crowd was not bad at all. The crowd was not bad, and
what would you say it was, though?
I would say the crowd was about 600.
600?
Yeah, I would say it was about 600.
Oh.
So, not bad.
Okay.
There were some games at Frontier Field, at Salem Stadium last year that drew about 600. So, there's room for improvement. It wasn't bad though. It could have been worse. So,
all right. Well,
obviously, it would have been better if the team had played a little better. But it was okay. It was an okay start. I think there's room for improvement.
A good start.
The parking is good. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
The parking is
Awesome.
very easy and it's free.
Oh, now so that's awesome.
So
that's
a good. That's a positive. So there's a lot to build on. All right, we're gonna be joined in a second by Jeff DiVeronica of the Democrat and Chronicle. We're gonna talk some more soccer. We got Rhinos going on. We got Flash going on. It is a lot of soccer going on in Rochester. Jeff DiVeronica from the Democrat and Chronicle.
Yes.
All right. So we got a lot of soccer going on. We got the Rhinos off to an, I would say, unprecedented start. Is it unprecedented? 3-0-2 and 5 away games?
No.
Okay.
They went 6-0. They went 6-0 to start the season.
Oh, they did. When?
In 2000, Jesse Myers' first year.
Oh, okay.
2012.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, they've had good starts before, but this is that was kind of fluky. I think this team's pretty good. I think it's a really good team.
They look pretty good. I mean, they're in first place now in the Eastern Conference. They seem to be getting a lot of respect, at least on Twitter, from other teams. I know the Charleston Battery were tweeting out today about how the Rhinos are in first place, representing the East. Just 2 goals allowed so far, which isn't a huge surprise considering they allowed the least number of goals in the league last year. But still, that's pretty impressive for 5 road games.
Yeah, well, Bob Lilly coaches guys to be smart defensively, to be organized defensively,
And if they're not playing good defense, they're not going to on the field. So, he gets kind of I think a bad rap for being a defensive coach. But, I mean, when he has the horses, he wants guys to go forward. In fact, the other night on the broadcast, they were talking about how, wow, the Rhinos, wow, they're actually moving forward and trying to score a goal. They didn't come to St. Louis looking for a tie.
Right.
And I'm like, he doesn't play for ties. I mean, situationally, if they're in a game on the road and there's 20 minutes left, and he's undermanned, he might have his guys play a little more defensively. But
like any
start
coach,
a game, Bob Lilly never plays for ties. Lori Calloway, former coach here, once he would say that, well, we're going to play 2 road games, and we hope to come away with at least a couple draws, and he would coach more toward that than Bob Lilly does.
I thought it was the best move the organization could have made when they brought back Lilly at the beginning of last year. The improvement has been so rapid. I don't think anyone expected the team to go from having their worst season in franchise history already to looking like they could compete for something this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. Bob's never had a team that's the playoffs in his history as a coach. It's 13 years in a row, 13 or 14 years. I think it's 13 years. Very rarely does he have teams that finish outside of the top 5. And if the organization had their way, he never would have left. So Bob wanted to step away, and he did, and everyone was really glad to see him come back. I don't think Bob Lilly wants to stop coaching until he wins another championship. He had one in 2006 with Vancouver, and I really think that he feels like he won't have finished business in Rochester until he leads this franchise to a championship. It's a team that used to deny him championships when he coached at Hershey.
With the USL now at 24 teams, which is strikingly different than last year when there were only 14, it looks like it's going to be a lot harder to win a championship now.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but Orlando's gone now, so that's part of it.
Right. But you got Sacramento.
Been removed.
To me, Sacramento is the new Orlando.
For sure. I think they're going to get in MLS, and they deserve it. We were just 15 years ahead of the curve. Had the explosion in Rochester happened now, I think it's very possible that we would have gotten into MLS.
You think?
I agree. I agree with them.
I don't know. I thought that when the Rhinos had their explosions, if you want to call it, I thought that was the perfect time because that's when MLS was just starting to expand, and the separation between the MLS and the A-League wasn't that much. I think that was the perfect time.
No, I think now, it's definitely, this league is not totally different than it was. There was a point where the A-League and the USL thought they could compete with MLS.
Right.
And they were going to use the Rhinos as their standard to think that they could do that. Now, if you succeed in this league, and you draw fans, and you're a solid organization, and you have money, let's not forget that the whole thing here is about. You got to have an owner that has money. One of the problems with the original Rhino ownership group is they were greedy. They didn't want to take on another big-pocketed investor that could have got them to MLS. Those 3 owners, Steve Donner, Chris Economides, Frank Duras, they never could have afforded a $20 million expansion.
Right.
Don Garber was going to try to get them in with a relocated franchise because he thought it would have been putting a Band-Aid on a problem.
Kansas
City was, right?
It was Kansas City, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It was Kansas City. Lamar Hunt and his sons were here. They met with the Rhinos, and there were papers drawn up. It wasn't like they just talked about it, and they just couldn't come to terms. But in hindsight, it's now the ship has sailed. I mean, the expansion fee is too much. Fans from Buffalo and Toronto, well, they go to Toronto to watch MLS, or they go to New York City to watch MLS.
Right.
If Rochester had gotten in before there was MLS in Toronto, I think we could have been that regional franchise that would have drawn from Syracuse, from Albany, from Binghamton, from Toronto, from Buffalo. Now that's gone.
I agree.
Unfortunately, it's not going to happen.
Well,
unless you get a Terry Pagula that shows up and wants to dump money into Rochester.
Sure.
But I just don't think it's going to happen.
Well, Jeff, I mean, the good thing that came out of that ownership group was they, as much as they didn't have as much money as maybe they claimed, they did get the stadium built. And although, they probably could have done a better job with the stadium originally, they got it built. And I think, we would not have had all these U.S. women's national team games over the years if not for Salem Stadium.
Yeah, I give them a lot of credit for getting it built. I think some restrictions by politicians, in particular David Gant, created a problem where that stadium was not built where the Rhinos wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'll always give them a pass on the fact that people will complain about where that stadium is built, that it's not in the greatest part of town. And I disagree with that to a certain extent. I will say that they should know that the Rhinos ownership group didn't want it there. David Gant wanted it there. He said, you're never going to get the $15 million from the state of New York that was allocated for you unless you put it in my district. So I blame David Gant for that. In hindsight, and I wouldn't have said this to you 10 years ago, in hindsight, the stadium never should have been built. This franchise would be better off now if that stadium was ever built.
I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I mean, if you look at soccer in Rochester as a whole, I think it's better off with a soccer-specific stadium. The Flash would not be here, and the U.S. women's national team games would never come.
Why don't you think the Flash should be? Wait, hang on. Why don't you think the Flash?
I couldn't see the NWSL putting national team players playing in a baseball stadium, and I couldn't see the
players. I think they'll put players where they draw fans and make money.
I couldn't see
let me ask you this: if somehow magically Salem Stadium was plucked off the face of the earth, and the Rhinos had to move back to Frontier Field, say the county got involved, say the city got involved, the Rhinos would draw better at Frontier Field.
They might.
I say it, but it's true.
But and then think about this, Jeff. The Twins. You think the Twins would want to have two professional soccer players playing on their grass?
It won't happen. The Orioles didn't like it either. It won't happen now. Now that they've been removed from the situation there, the Red Wings will never have them back unless they're forced to. The Twins would never let that happen if they're forced to. But the Rhinos in their league, as it's constructed now, where were they playing? Saturday night they played on a baseball field.
It looked terrible. Honestly, they put
Louisville.
Yeah, I couldn't believe they put artificial turf over the dirt. I don't know how they could be allowed to do that. It seems dangerous almost.
Yeah, but we did that for 9 years in Rochester.
No, we put sod though, Jeff. We had sod, not artificial turf. They put artificial turf there in Louisville.
Well, either way, it's not good.
Yeah, I think the sod's got to be a little better, though.
Either way, it's a risk of injury. So,
sure.
I mean, but if the Rhinos, again, this would be a cool experiment. It'll never happen. If the Red Wings were to allow the Rhinos to play one match there this year or next year, whatever it was, I would love to see how that game
it's
would
not
go.
a bad,
It would have that
idea.
heritage feel to it.
Yeah.
And you know how people like that type of heritage feel. You're right. If you did that just because of that, I remember, the heritage, people would come back and it would sell out.
Oh, the nostalgia. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The nostalgia. But I know, and I'll say this. Salem Stadium is a much better place to watch a soccer game.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
than a
of
baseball
the sight
stadium.
line.
Sure.
And there were only about 3,000, maybe 4,000 good seats that got you close to the action at Frontier Field.
There were some
but
brutal
the match was
seats.
more exciting because it was such a short field.
Right.
Goalie'd punt the ball, and all of a sudden 2 hops and it's in the other 18.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Guys didn't have a lot of time on the ball. There weren't these stretches where you could take the ball out wide. And guys, you had to be able to handle the ball quickly and get rid of it. But the ball pinged around a lot quicker at Frontier Field than it does at Salem Stadium. Now, the purists would never like the Frontier Field because it's a small field. It's not on a real soccer field, even though it was grass. It still had all the dirt and all that. But I don't know. I mean, I tend to look back too much, even though it was such a glorious time in the late '90s here. And this summer, I'm going to work on a story. How do we make it better?
Yeah.
How do Rochester soccer get better?
And
that's something we focus on too.
I was just gonna, I was gonna ask you about that. I mean, news came out over the last couple months that Blue Cross Arena and Frontier Field are both getting renovations done in the near future with public money, and not a mention of Salem Stadium. And Jeff, I was at the Amerks game Friday night. It was a sellout. The arena looked fine. It looked great. I mean, obviously, if they want to, put money into it, put money into it. It's great for the city. I was at the Red Wings home opener. Frontier Field looks as beautiful as ever. Again, if you want to put money in it, put money into it. Salem Stadium has scoreboards that did not work last year. It has, benches that are rotting away.
Finished.
There's just a lot of stuff that needs to be worked on at the stadium, and I don't see any mention of public money going to help them out.
Well, the city of Rochester puts a lot of the bill for that stadium because it owns it. So in a way, that there is public money already done. So I mean, the city of Rochester pays for the electric bill. The city of Rochester pays for if there's repairs. So the Rhinos are the operator. So that being said, I think if that scoreboard isn't fixed by very soon, there's going to be some explaining to it. In fact, I'll find out this week when I go over there and see if that scoreboard has been fixed. I know our new investigative reporter Brian Sharp was going to find out more about that because it's embarrassing.
It is, absolutely. I mean, we had a U.S. women's national team game here last year, and the scoreboard, didn't work. It was ridiculous. And not only that, I hope they power wash the 300 level and some of the walls, and it was just it was starting to look very old last year.
Yeah, and we're doing what we shouldn't be doing. We're focusing so much on the negative. We're not talking about the fact that I think Bob Lilly has built a really good, hardworking, young, aggressive team with some surprisingly good forwards. I think that are gonna score goals, and I think they're in this for the long haul. I think they're going to be really good. To come away from they've used 3 different goalies, and they're unbeaten. And they've used all of the guys on the roster.
I was going to ask you about that. The goaltending situation. Obviously, replacing John McCarthy, who we just got to watch on TV last night playing for the Union at Yankee Stadium. Brandon Miller, 2 shutouts already in 3 games played. Adam Grunwald played a game and had a tie, and then Sean Murdoch, coming over from Scotland, had a shutout Saturday, in St. Louis. What do you think the goaltending situation is going to be going forward?
I think he's going to keep rotating guys.
All 3 of them?
Sharp, you keep them ready. No, I don't know about Grunwald.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Miller and Murdoch, probably, right?
Yeah, I think they signed Murdoch with the thought that they want to make sure Miller can handle it. But I think it's going to be the M&M boys. I think both those guys are going to get games. Murdoch didn't come here to play for the Rhinos, just like Christian Nish never came here to play for the Rhinos. He came here to try to get down the left.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, this has become a pretty good spot.
Sure.
If you want to get to the next level.
Yeah.
Be it Ben Onstad, be it John McCarthy, be it Christian Nish. I mean, and I didn't realize this talking to Bob Lilly last week. Bob Lilly has had 6 goalies that have played for him that have gone on to make MLS.
Wow.
Guys like John Bush, Tony Kaig, he's John McCarthy now. He's I mean, it's funny. People say he's not known as a goalkeeper coach, but Scott Vallow once told me that in his 1 year working with Bob Lilly directly, Bob taught him more than any other coach he's ever played for in 1 year.
Wow. Very cool.
That's
Big
awesome.
volumes,
yeah. So, the Rhinos are still affiliated, Jeff, with the Revolution, but they only sent 2 guys down this year. Any reason why?
I don't know if the Rhinos really wanted more than 2 guys.
Okay.
I don't know if it worked out as well as they wanted last year. I think they thought they maybe had maybe 1 or 2 more guys than they needed.
Okay.
Look at it. I mean, Softer couldn't be.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't even close.
When Bob thought he had to put guys out there, and I don't think he was ever told he wanted to play guys, but they're not down here to sit.
It's encouraged, yeah.
So
sure.
I think it'd be better, less is more. If you have 2 guys that are really good, they're going to get minutes, but you don't want to have guys be put out there that are going to contribute to losses.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's okay. I think the Rhinos are happy there's only 2 guys, and obviously, the Revolution kind of called the shots here to a degree, so maybe they're okay with it too.
So home opener is coming up Sunday against the New York Red Bulls too. The attendance improved a lot last year. You think it's going to improve more this year?
I think people will start to know if the team keeps winning. People will start to come out and figure it out and watch the team play. I think the best way the Rhinos can get fans in that stadium
is to win.
Games.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to see them spend more money in advertising and marketing, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I know that people will come out to see a winner. People will go, hey, wait a minute, the Rhinos are like 7-1-2.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, let's go maybe check them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it's up to you. When you get the people in the stadium, you got to perform and make it exciting. Last year, that watching that team try to put the ball in the back of the net was very frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Fans don't want to see that. But I think this is a team that attacks. It's got some good forwards. They're going to surprise people. And again, I think Bob Lilly knows how to put together a team. He knows how to piece it together. But I think last year he just had a couple forwards that let him down.
Jeff, we have on the Rhinos Steven Duba Humberto Fortes dos Santos. Is that the longest name in Rhinos history?
Well, I'd have to go back and look exactly what Zé Roberto from Brazil was, but I think it might be. I think that might be the longest. Pretty amazing. Yeah, we're just gonna go with he's from Cape Verde. So
yeah, and I was looking up Cape Verde.
Guys now from the Ivory Coast.
Okay.
That have played for this franchise all over the world.
I know.
I'm going to try to do some more human interest pieces on who these guys are and where they came from this summer. So it could be a fun summer. I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be better than the Flash. The Flash are really young. They have growing pains, and that's not unexpected. I think going to Portland and losing that goal is actually a decent result for the Flash.
I agree. I mean, the first game against Seattle was a little bit embarrassing, losing 5-1. Are you concerned about the goalkeeping? Sabrina D'Angelo, already 6 goals allowed in 2 games.
I don't. The first game, I didn't think a lot of it was her fault. I thought her defense let her down a few times. Mm-hmm. I thought she's been pretty aggressive and pretty good. But in a 5-1 game, I actually didn't think she was that bad. A couple times. I mean, one time Rapinoe literally out-jumped Brittany Taylor for a ball.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
that's not supposed to happen. So. But again, I think Aaron Lyons is another guy who knows how to put together a team. And I don't, if you told me they were going to go and win one of those games or get a point, I would have thought that would have been terrific for them. I'm not surprised they're 0-2, but they need to take care of business against the team they're supposed to beat. And the Boston Breakers coming on May 2nd, that should be a win for the Flash. And I think as the World Cup starts to invade this league and take players away, the Flash will be better equipped to keep their play at a good level than some of the other teams.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that because the Flash are only going to lose 2 girls, Sydney Leroux and Whitney Engen, and I'm guessing a lot of the other teams are losing more women to the national team, right?
Absolutely. Some teams will be like Portland and Seattle will lose a lot.
Yeah.
So when you take your goalkeeper away, Hope Solo from Seattle, Megan Rapinoe is going to be gone. Mm-hmm. I mean, they'll definitely lose a lot. Alex Morgan will be gone from Portland. Christine Sinclair won't be playing for Portland because of the Canadian national team. So, yeah, the Flash are in good shape in that regard. That the month and a half or so when players are going to be gone, they should be able to make a little bit of hay.
Now, were you more surprised by the fact that Abby announced she didn't want to play in Rochester anymore, or when they pulled off the trade to get Sydney Leroux to Rochester?
I was more surprised by the trade. I wasn't surprised she didn't play it. I thought last year was very possible. I said that publicly. I thought she very well might not come back. She doesn't like the turf, let's be honest.
Yeah.
She's pretty vocal about that.
Yeah.
They need to do something about the turf in that stadium. It's been 10 years old now.
Yep.
She told me it didn't play a factor. She broke her leg and before the Olympics in 2008. She couldn't play the Olympics. Mm-hmm. But this is her last chance. I mean, it would be so, the word tragic is not right, but it'd be so unfortunate if she were to get hurt in an NWSL match and not be able to play in the World Cup.
Absolutely.
So I have no problem. And, people, she's supposed to help grow the sport. Well, Abby Wambach leading their team to a World Cup title will do more than any 3 matches that happened before the World Cup this year if she had played for the Flash. So I have no problem with it. People, there's a lot of people on message boards that call her selfish. I think they're totally out of left field with that. It's crazy to think that. Are there like the Abby rules compared to everyone else? Absolutely. But that's what happens when you score more goals than anybody on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it happens in every sport. I mean, you got the LeBron James, rules.
And I don't think she's ever abused it. I don't think this is an abuse of her power. I think she's doing what's best for her. And I think she's also doing what could be best for U.S. soccer. Mm-hmm. How much of a bummer would it be for the U.S. soccer team if Abby Wambach got hurt and couldn't play?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So, and it seemed also like Abby mania had kind of died down for the Flash.
I'm waiting. Next week leading up to the. I've actually written part of it because I was going to run it, but we held off on it. Mm-hmm. Leading up to the Flash opener, I've already written that the novelty's worn off. The thrill's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sydney Leroux can help this team draw fans.
That I'm hoping because when Leroux came to town last year, I mean it was like Abby Mania used to be almost. I mean just all the little girls lining up just screaming for Sydney.
Abby Mania was better when she only came
right when she only came a couple times a year.
But when she was
worried about this from the get go. The the novelty of it, the electricity in that stadium. Look at when the things become routine.
Yeah.
It's a tougher sell, and it became
That's what
routine.
I was saying when she got signed here, and I'm like, she's not going to stay.
Yeah.
I think the numbers bear out that it probably would have been the same. Like if she'd come here twice a summer as an opposing player, I think over the course of the season, you'd probably draw similar numbers.
Yeah, it's better off.
2 or 3 matches would have a lot more pop to them.
Yeah.
So, it's fine. I also didn't like her living in a fishbowl here. It was good that she lived in Buffalo to a degree because she wouldn't be in the spotlight. We wouldn't have people tweeting, "Hey, look at Eddie Wambach's walking to Wegman shopping" and stuff like that. But at the same time, it didn't. At the same time, I know it wasn't a great setup.
Yeah.
That she living in Buffalo, and she even said, she said, if I was living in Rochester all this summer, it might be a little different. But I can't begrudge somebody that's traveled her whole life, wants to live in her own house, and get ready for the World Cup, get her mind right for a couple months. Take 2 months for herself to get ready. I have no problem with that. So,
and for Sydney, it's a totally different story because she's young. She's got a couple more World Cups left in her.
at least.
Yeah,
at least. And she doesn't have to she can bounce back from injuries quicker than a 34-year-old.
Sure. Oh my God, so much quicker. Yeah.
And there's also some crossover appeal that you guys, young 20-something males, know about Sydney LaRue. So, I think if you get some of your buddies to go watch women's soccer.
Yeah, it's true though. I'm really hoping that I think this home opener against Boston should be a good crowd if as long as the community knows that she's here. I think
I think during the World Cup, she's gonna come back at some point. But we try to do your advertising campaign now to get people out for one match before the World Cup, and then she's gonna be gone. The Flash really need to market the heck out of her so that in late summer fans come out.
Yes.
Because that's when they're gonna, hopefully it's after a World Cup championship that'll help draw fans. But if I'm Joe Salem, I got to pony up some money on a billboard on 490.
Yeah, they marketed Marta really well.
They did.
They need to do what they did for Marta for Sydney LaRue.
Yeah, they absolutely.
Marta sold seats.
Yeah, absolutely. That team in general was.
Yeah, they paid quite.
That was the best women's team in the world.
They got a lot of return on their investment for Marta. Yeah. They ponied up about $400,000 to get Marta here for a summer. So.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yes, they Flash paid her salary. No one else did.
Okay.
She had a pre-existing deal with WPS, the league, and then when the league folded, or not folded, when the league basically when the LA Soul folded, and then the next team folded, she played for the Gold Pride. Like part of it was because they had to pay Marta's salary. The league was hamstrung on Marta's salary.
Wow.
But then Joe Salem said, "Okay, let's keep her in the league." And the league said, "Well, we can't afford her." And Joe Salem said, "I can afford her.
Huh.
So I'll pay you the $400,000."
Wow.
In a perfect world, guys, and this is something you guys should talk about, and I hope I'm going to be back on the radio soon talking soccer this summer, back on my old show. But I want to tell you that if there was some sort of super ownership group that owned the Flash, owned the Rhinos, and owned the Lancers, that would be the best thing for Rochester soccer, in my opinion.
We've mentioned this.
I can someone agree with you. I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
No.
I think that
you got a better chance of seeing Sydney LaRue walking down 490 in a bikini than you do that happening.
that would be a good marketing ploy though for the Flash at least. I think the Lancers are in a great place right now. I think Sam does a fantastic job. He's got a lot of passion for it, and I think that's the most important thing. And I think the Rhinos are in an okay place, too. Financially, they seem pretty sound, and I think that's what's most important for the future. And then the Flash, you got a really, really, really rich hot dog guy that owns a team. So I think all three teams, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the future looks pretty bright for all three teams, even owned separately.
I wouldn't say it looks stable. It looks stable. I don't know if I would say it looks bright. I don't know how much brighter it's going to get, but I know that they could get brighter if they all work together, and that's not happening now.
Yeah, I agree. It's more of a they can exist.
7 guys that play for the Lancers and the Rhinos, and Joe Salem's got money. Rob Clark already spends a lot of money on it. I get that, but there's marketing that Sam could provide. There's money that Salem and Clark could provide. The Rhinos could provide that stadium, but there's a lot of people. I got to run in a minute, guys, but the last thing I'm going to leave you with is this. In the late 90s, everybody in the town worked together to try to make the Rhinos a bigger deal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody from youth clubs to the pro clubs seems to work against each other, and that's sad.
Yeah.
Amen.
I mean,
Amen.
It would be nice, but I think for now we gotta go with what we've got. We've got a stadium that's there. We've got the Rhinos are looking great this year, and the Flash are going to be exciting with Sidney LaRue, and I think it should be an exciting summer of soccer. And Jeff, thank you so much. This was a pleasure.
Good
and
insight.
We'd love to catch up with you later in the year.
Keep my number handy, fellas.
All right. That was Jeff DiVeronica of the Democratic Chronicle. He does an amazing job covering all of the soccer teams in Rochester. So yeah, a lot of good stuff there.
Good insight.
I hope that I think that the World Cup is going to be a good thing for the Flash, because the stronger teams are going to lose more girls, and I think that at least during the time of the World Cup, the Flash will gain some points. And I think the Rhinos are going to be pretty good. And the Rattlers, I think, are going to be good, too. I think they just got to you know what? The Nighthawks laid an egg a couple weeks ago against Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same thing the Rattlers did yesterday. They laid an egg.
Did they lay an egg, or are they just... Yeah, here's one thing that happens in sports. You can have great teams that do horrible because the people don't gel together. Do you think all these players gel?
It's essentially the same team as last year that went to the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, missing Miles Thompson for the Minnesota Swarm, Jordan McIntosh from the Minnesota Swarm, and there's another guy in the NLL, and a guy hurt. But there's only 4 guys, and other than that, it's the same team essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So no, they laid an egg. That's it.
All right,
they laid an egg.
And just like
they get a mulligan.
Well,
you get 14 games in Major League Lacrosse. They laid an egg.
It was just like we said with the when the Hawks first started. We're like, wow, this team is. Ugh.
Yeah.
And then we're like, wow, this team is amazing.
Yeah, the Nighthawks laid 2 eggs this year. They had the egg against Edmonton, the egg at home against New England in the beginning, or no, at New England in the beginning of the year.
They lay 3 eggs.
No, 2, just 2. They had 5 losses, but the other 3 were close games. So, relatively.
That Edmonton
2 eggs.
game.
So you know what? The Rattlers will get
close.
2 eggs too this year. I think the Rattlers will be back in the championship. I think they're that strong, and I think the Rhinos. You know what? I don't know. The USL has 24 teams now. It is not easy to win a championship.
No.
So, will they win a championship? Who knows? But I think they'll be in the playoffs, and I think they're going to make some noise.
I definitely think that. I mean, they've already made some noise. You said Charleston was already,
they're tweeting out, about how
so they've already made some noise.
They're using it as a selling point to sell tickets that they're facing the first place Rhinos on May 26th.
That's amazing to get respect from your opponents.
Absolutely. John, why don't you tell us about Leroy Discount Liquor?
Leroy Discount Liquor, huh? Well, here's what I can say right now. The weather's nice.
It is nice. It's beautiful.
I say it when it's nice, but no, it's really getting nice. And what better way to celebrate it by taking a nice scenic drive out to Leroy, so you get to enjoy the drive. Then you get to go to Leroy Discount Liquor. Our good friend Johnny, the owner, a good sports fan, knowledgeable sports fan, and also very knowledgeable about his product. He has a nice, good selection of whiskey. I tasted it on the show. It was delicious. If you're a whiskey drinker, check that out. So he also has the famous 15 and under wine rack featuring the $5.99 rack. Always a good thing to check out. And folks, please do not drink and drive.
Yes, do not drink.
Don't. Especially now, it is Trooper Week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I told you today I saw a trooper, or not a trooper. I saw a cop on Buffalo Road here.
Yeah, but it's Operation. What is it called? Operation
Speed Trap
Operation,
Week or whatever.
It's Operation Slowdown, and the troopers are looking extra hard.
Yeah, I saw one on 490 too.
Yep, I saw a lot of people pulled over last night.
Yeah. Reminder: the Rattlers' next home game is Sunday, May 3rd, versus the Florida Launch. Casey Powell, former Rattler and Nighthawk, come into town. That is 1 p.m. Sunday, May 3rd at Eunice Kennedy Shriver Stadium on the campus of SUNY Brockport. It's real easy to get to. If you're coming from Rochester, take 531 to 31, go through the village of Brockport, stay on 31, make a right into campus, and then go just make a right where it says Athletic Complex. And right there, free parking.
That's awesome.
Really easy to get to. It's about 20 minutes outside the city. Not bad at all. $15 tickets. Very affordable. Hopefully it'll be warmer than it was Sunday, because it was, man, was it cold. And
I think the wind is more what got people.
Well, it was the wind, and people were not prepared because the weather people
Thank
had
you,
not
Wham Doppler.
well, it's not the radar. It wasn't raining or snowing, but it was just that I don't think people were prepared for the wind chill. I mean, it had to be in the 30s with the wind chill. Easily in the 30s. So hopefully it'll be warmer Sunday, May 3rd against the Florida Launch. And the Rhinos home opener once again is this Sunday, April 26th against New York Red Bull 2:05 at Salem Stadium. And season tickets are still available for just $99.
Can't beat
$99.
Can't beat season tickets.
And
for
that is a fantastic deal. John, some hockey talk for us to talk about. The Amerks finished up their season. They lost 3-2 Friday night in front of an overflow crowd of 10,641 at the Blue Cross Arena. It was Sam Reinhardt's AHL debut. He played 9 games with the Sabres early in this season in October. He had 2 assists in his AHL debut. He was the main reason, I think, for the huge crowd. It was the first sellout/overflow crowd, supposedly, according to our friend Kevin Klubser from the Democratic Chronicle, ever in the new renovated Blue Cross Arena. Apparently, they used to announce sellouts, the Donner Group, but they never actually sold every seat. So this was the first time they literally sold every single seat in the arena. Plus, they actually put chairs up at the top of the 200 level on the the renovated end, and had people sitting up there in chairs. So
it was an amazing atmosphere.
It was a great atmosphere. I'd love to see it again. It's amazing that it's taken this long for a true sellout to finally happen, and it happened this year when the Amerks were not very good. So
but the thing is, we all know that Rochester hockey fans love Buffalo, and with the
I think it was the Reinhardt effect that really kind of put it over
having
the edge.
having the being back with the Sabres affiliation and having those 4 Sabres players there. I think that really helped.
I think there was more. I mean, Veroni was that. Well, Veroni was. Well, no,
they announced that they had 4.
Well, they had sent down. Reinhardt was there. Veroni got sent down. Larson got sent down. Hackett got sent down. It was a pretty.
People were very excited.
It was the best Amerks lineup in months.
Yeah, people were very excited.
And they still couldn't beat Utica though.
Utica's
my pick to win the Calder Cup.
So Utica's also Utica, and they're a pretty good team.
Yeah,
and
they're my pick. They're my pick to win the Cup.
They were playing like they could have beat them.
I got Utica over Hershey in 7 games. That's my Calder Cup final pick. So I think that'd be a cool series too. Utica is a great hockey city.
Yeah,
they sell out pretty much every game. And Hershey also sells out every game. They have a much bigger arena, but I think that'd be a great series.
Yeah, so Utica has a pretty small arena, like 2,300.
No, 36.
36. Whereas
38, 41.
Whereas Hershey's about 85.
About 10,000, just over 10,000. Also, the Amerks finished their season. They did finish with a win at Adirondack. It was the last AHL game ever played at the Glens Falls Civic Arena. The Adirondack Flames are moving to Stockton, California, to become the Stockton Heat next year.
Do you think they're going to put an ECHL team?
They are. They announced the Adirondack Thunder are the new ECHL team to play at the Glens Falls Civic Center.
That's good. It'd be a travesty to see Glens Falls without hockey. I mean, they're a good town for hockey.
Yeah. So they finished up the season 26-41, 5-1. Tied for 27th in the AHL. So obviously a lot of room for improvement for the Amerks. John, who do you think finished the season? Which AHL team finished with the most fighting majors?
Syracuse.
Close. They were second. It was Binghamton with 104. Syracuse was second with 94. It's always those old New York cities that always like to fight a lot.
Syracuse, it's Binghamton.
They always like to fight.
It's funny, Rochester doesn't really.
No,
like
we never.
Syracuse fans and Binghamton fans love their fighters.
Their fighting. Amerks finished 22nd in fights, 47. So a lot less. Texas was last in the league with 25. And also the penalty minute champion in the AHL, which is always kind of a minor league hockey thing. No one really talks about it in the NHL.
No,
it's not as
anymore.
Right? Was Darren Kramer from Binghamton, 284 penalty minutes. So not bad.
Thought?
I mean, long gone are the days where Brian McGrattan in 2004-2005 had an AHL record 500. I think it was 542 penalty minutes for Binghamton. So those days are gone. But
people
still,
like Kip Brennan.
Yeah, 248 is not bad.
I was gonna say that the thing is that's a bygone era of the Yeah, Brian McGrattan, being an Ottawa Senators fan, was a goon of mine
He
that
was
I
a goon.
enjoyed
He was a
watching.
goon if there ever was a goon.
Yeah.
John, some new affiliations to
What do we got?
talk about. The Columbus Blue Jackets are finally hooking up with the Lake Erie Monsters. So I think that's going to be great for hockey in Ohio. Lake Erie already draws amongst the best in the AHL. They played a great arena.
They have a big arena.
They played a 19,000-seat arena.
The house of LeBron James.
Yes. And so now they're affiliated with Columbus right down the road. And because of that, Colorado Avalanche are going to San Antonio. Arizona is going to Springfield, which is a little weird.
Whoa.
And Florida is going to Portland. So those two are a little But,
yeah, I was going to say Florida, Portland, that almost reminds us of Rochester and Florida.
Yeah. It's just kind of the climate's a little different.
Because Portland was with Buffalo and we're with Florida. And
And the Hamilton Bulldogs played their last AHL game ever.
Oh, that's sad.
Saturday night. They had a pretty good crowd of over 10,000 at Cops Coliseum. They will be getting an OHL team next year.
That's cool. OHLs are juniors, but juniors are good.
Yeah. So Hamilton is moving to St. John's to become the new St. John's Ice Caps, and the old St. John's Ice Caps are moving to Winnipeg to become the Manitoba Moose again. The Manitoba Moose will be back.
I'm just glad that St. John's has a team. I mean, even though we share a rivalry with the Who Let the Dogs Out, they didn't draw as well.
No, they
Whereas St. John's
draws very well.
They draw very well. They have
very well. They sell out almost every game there. The AHL scoring title this year, maybe an indication of how scoring is down all over hockey a little bit. Brian O'Neill from Manchester wins the scoring title with just 80 points. So yeah, the Amherst scoring champion was Phil Veroni with just 44. So.
Yeah.
Ouch. I mean, the Amherst didn't score much this year, but the whole league didn't score as much as normal. I was reading. Scoring's down all over hockey, NCAA, AHL, and NHL. And if you ask the skilled guys like Sidney Crosby, they blame the referees. That the referees have let the game slip back into the clutching and grabbing game a little bit. That they're not calling the hooking and the holding and the interference as much as they used to. I don't disagree. I think that they may want to crack down on the clutching and grabbing starting again next year. The game has gotten a little bit going a little bit back to the pre-lockout game, just a little bit. Not bad, but just a tiny bit. So I think if they if they just call more penalties, I think you'll have more scoring. Our favorite minor league, John.
The Federal
Hockey League is running into some trouble.
That's a shock.
They got sued, and they got sued for a lot.
What did they get sued
money.
for?
They got sued because a player lost an eye.
Yeah.
A player who was playing for let me see here. The Danville. No. Excuse me. Yeah. The Danville Federals, okay? Michael Stacy, from the Aquasani Warriors, high-sticked this guy, Mohi. I'm sorry, I should have read this earlier, but he high-sticked Kyler Mohi.
Yeah.
And took his eye out.
Like his eye came out?
Yeah, he took his eye out. Like apparently the stick got under the visor, and I think he turned the stick or something, allegedly, and took his eye out. Okay, so the guy sued the league because he said that the Aquasani Warriors, which were kind of a lot of Native Americans on that team, they said that the team had been so undisciplined that it presented a danger to all the other teams in the league, and that they were just a lot of goons on that team. It was like kind of slapshot stuff, right? And
that sounds kind of slapshot.
A judge awarded this guy who lost his eye $800,000, and the Federal Hockey League says they can't pay it. So they're going to, and they wanted to go to trial, but the lawyer they got, the FHL Commissioner Don Kerman, says the lawyer is, quote, lazy, okay, and didn't want to go to trial. So apparently the lawyer they got wasn't very good.
Quote, lazy.
Yeah. And they said that the league might not be back because of this lawsuit. So it's kind of a shame. I mean, obviously that's nasty, and you feel bad for the guy.
Geez.
But the league does give a lot of guys who wouldn't otherwise be able to play pro hockey.
I guess
the
the thing is, it's not really the league's fault that someone. I mean, I guess the thing is.
No, how can you blame the league for one idiot taking out a guy's eye?
That's what I'm saying. Like, how can you blame the league?
I guess they're saying that maybe like the culture of the league being, kind of known as a goonish league allowed it. I guess.
But this is a guy playing in the league by choice.
I know.
He should sue himself for playing in this league.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, this is our culture
I hope they figure it out. I hope the league is back because it does give a lot of people an opportunity.
It does, but I really think that even if I'm pretty sure that if they do go to trial, they'll end up fine settling for just paying for like bills or whatever. But I'll tell you, after that, they probably might not want to be like, you know what, this leaves us open. They might not want to take that legal liability after no matter how it turns out. So we may not see our favorite low-level hockey league. Hopefully another one comes to replace it, though.
Yeah, speaking of the FHL, the champion was Watertown. So congratulations to Watertown. And the SPHL, do you know who the champion was?
Let's see. The Florida Everblades.
No, the Knoxville Ice Bears.
Oh, okay.
They beat the Mississippi River Kings in 3 games.
You know what the name I really like?
What?
The Orlando Solar Bears.
The Solar Bears are a very good name. They used to play in the IHL a long time ago. Okay, John, we should talk about my favorite place in the world, the Mirage 414 West Ridge Road, where you can see up to 20 of the hottest girls in Rochester dancing just for you any night of the week. They're open 7 days a week, including early on Fridays. Come in at 4 o'clock for happy hour, when you can get in for free and see some hot-ass girls
nice.
for free. They are the hottest strip club in Rochester, and they also have the coldest beer.
Girls so hot, I need some cold beer.
Absolutely. They have the coldest beer and the hottest girls. It's exactly what you want in a strip club. 414 Westridge Road, right on the corner of Dewey and Ridge. Plenty of parking in the back as well. We have a very special birthday to announce. Happy birthday to our former co-host, Mark Sotile.
Oh, happy birthday. And speaking of Mark Sotile and his happy birthday at 936 Portland Avenue, which is where he probably is right now, you can get a $15.95 oil change. Mention the show. Now he's been serving the community for 5 years, so you can expect good service. So when you go in there to tell him happy birthday and get your $15.95 oil change, remember that. You can go in there 8 to 6, Monday through Friday, Saturday 9 to 6, and don't forget to wish him a happy birthday.
Yes, if you see him today, definitely wish Mark a happy 21st birthday.
Yeah, I thought it was 19.
No, he can drink now. He's 21.
Oh, okay.
So yes, happy birthday to Mark Sotile. Also, we should tell you about Rochester Sports and Physical Therapy, located conveniently off of 390 125 Red Creek Drive, off the Calkins Road exit in Henrietta. They are your home for all of your physical therapy needs. My physical therapist, Katie, she is wonderful. She has been doing this for over 2 decades. I love her, and my knee is doing great. Whether you need to recover from knee surgery, shoulder, problems, a sprained ankle, anything like that, go to Rochester Sports and Physical Therapy. Here's the best part. You don't even need a prescription from your doctor. Most insurances cover the physical therapy for up to 10 visits. So give them a call today to schedule your first appointment, 334-8090. That's 334-8090. Okay, John, we're going to wrap this up in a second here. It is going to be a big rock sports weekend this weekend coming up. We got the Rhinos home. We got also the Nighthawks home on Saturday night, and the Rhinos home Sunday. And the Red Wings will, I think, finally come back home next week. They had a really weird road trip. They swept Scranton Wilkes-Barre 3-0, and then they got swept by Pawtucket 4-0. So they're 5-5 right now. They looked great early on, but they're struggling a little bit lately. So hopefully they get it back together. Pat Dean, this has been a strong point. The Red Wings pitching has been generally pretty strong. IL pitcher of the week, his first 2 AAA starts, 12 innings pitched, 1 run allowed, and just 6 hits. IL pitcher of the week for Pat Dean. The Razor Sharks were also sued, speaking of suits, for $170,000 by Penguin Athletics. They operated the team in 2013. Dr. Sev plans to countersue, and they let go Coach Robert Spahn. So some goofy stuff going on with the Razor Sharks. I hope they get it all sorted out because we do love our our basketball in Rochester. We do want to see the Sharks return. I think that the ship on the D-League may have sailed, but I think the PBL, if they can get their financial stuff together and they can get through this lawsuit, I think there's a good chance that the PBL and the Sharks will be back next year. And, regardless of the level, it is always nice to have professional basketball in Rochester. And for the championship game, the crowd was excellent. It was very, very good. And they had those professional wrestlers, Coco Beware and others, and it was nice to see. So I think it's nice to have that professional basketball in Rochester, and I do hope that Dr. Sev is able to bring them back. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week. Guys, support your local teams. Rhinos Sunday at home, Nighthawks Saturday night. Red Wings will be home after this 4-game set that starts Monday night in Syracuse. And we will see you next week. Make sure you support our other shows on rocksportsnetwork.com, including the Big Schmaz, Matt and Matt on Ice. And they have high school lacrosse broadcast, I believe, coming up. We'll have to check in with Gary on that. We'll talk to you next week. We may be doing a live broadcast from a local sports venue. So if we do, we will not be broadcasting live on our normal time on Monday, but we will keep you updated on that. And guys, there's a lot of tickets, okay, on the line right now. You can win 4 tickets to the Rhinos home opener. Even if you're listening on replay, go to our Facebook page, okay? All you got to do, go to Facebook, facebook.com/sportsmumblings, or just go to Google and type in Sports Mumblings, Facebook, Rochester Sports Mumblings Facebook, or go to rocksportsnetwork.com and click on our page, okay? Our Facebook link is right there. Go like us on Facebook, and you'll see the post. Respond to the Rhinos trivia question. It's an easy one, all right? I'm telling you right there. Right now, it's very easy. You'll win 4 tickets to the Rhinos home opener this Sunday, okay? And also our Calder Cup playoff challenge. Predict the outcomes of the first round series in the AHL playoffs, and you're going to win some tickets as well, okay? So check those out, and check us out on latenightsportsradio.com on Tuesday nights at 10 p.m., of course. All right, until next week, for John Cargyle, for the birthday boy, Mark Sotile, for our producer, and for all of you guys, thanks so much. We'll talk to you next week.